If you're an online coach, agency owner, consultant, and you want better, more leverage and predictable growth, you should probably watch this video. And if you are watching this, then it's very likely that you are already posting content, but you're not seeing many results or the results that you want. Maybe you've posted content and you just kind of gave up because you burned out. Maybe you worked with other agencies, other editors, video editors, promised you the world, but all they got you was disappointment. I've been there. However, if you are already posting and you're crushing it, then this video is probably not for you. Like, just gonna be honest, but you might still learn a few things. So what I'll show you in this video is how to essentially start or scale your personal brand. Well, on the left is you being sad because you don't have a personal brand. And on the right, you're being extremely happy because you have an awesome personal brand. And so why should you actually even listen to me in the first place? So I built my own personal brand, added 20,000 followers in 30 days. I've established a smooth content machine, added 5 figures in revenue as well. Not only for myself, but also for my clients. I helped my client add 300,000 followers organically. I think across socials, we added like 500,000. So he went from 500,000 to 1 million. You can see the interview that I did with him on my YouTube channel. And I helped others and other clients gain clarity, level up their content, and just kind of have this smooth and seamless content machine going where they just need to record and post the content and it grows. My hopes by the end of this video is for you to have this kind of blueprint where you can do the same. So what is the actual process and why you should pay attention, right? So number one is if you lack clear roadmap to building a personal brand, because I kind of figured that a lot of people, that's where they struggle. They don't know the content strategy. They don't know how to edit. They don't know who to hire, so on and so forth. And that kind of keeps them stuck for a while, especially if you are running a 5-6 figure month business. You just don't really have time to figure it out. Number two, you want leverage. You want inbound clients, right? You want inbound leads. You want people come to you. Let's be real for 1 second. Like, sending cold DMs sucks. The only time I really needed to send cold DMs was when I started my creative career. A lot of people don't know. I moved to Ireland when I was 16. My family moved here. I finished school. I got into college and I got into photography. You know, I was like, oh, I kind of want to make money with my skills. So I had to do cold outreach, talk to people, and I get ignored 99% of the time. It sucked. So what I decided to do is build a portfolio of my work, show my best work, and then kind of use that to get my foot into the door and let my work speak for myself, really. Once I got my first, let's say, freelance jobs, I didn't really need to do any more cold outreach. It just got word of mouth, referrals, and that is the best way to do stuff. And the second time I actually had to do cold outreach was when I started my short form content agency. At the start of it, I had to do cold DMs to get the word out there. And I sent about 1,000 cold DMs. We booked 2 calls. 1 didn't show, 1 didn't close. To be fair, I didn't know what I was doing. It makes sense that it didn't work for me. It takes time to work as well. It takes time to dial in the messages. And I just never really believed in it. So that's my stance on it. I like people coming to me, for my own work, for the stuff that I can do for them, that they believe in me and my product and my service. That's why I kind of always believed in personal branding. Number 3 is competition for attention. The bad news is that competition for attention is only going to go up. So any mediocre brand, any mediocre content, any mediocre influencer, they're just going to get eliminated. They won't get eliminated, but their message is just going to be drowned by mediocrity. So you need to do yourself a favor and start creating high value content like this, like good lights, good camera quality, good editing, because the competition is going to go up. And I know that for a fact because I saw a Ty Lopez ad literally the other day talking about how personal branding is the next big thing. So the personal branding has already been a big thing. And, you know, it's been kind of easy to win so far. Now there's going to be a lot of mediocre content, mediocre personal branding pumping out there. And, you know, if you are one of those mediocre people, you're just not going to be able to really scale past a certain point. So you need to do yourself a favor, create high quality content, stand out in the marketplace, capture the attention. I think Hormozy said it's like the attention is the new oil. And he's right. He's right. He knows what he's doing. He built a massive brand. And I kind of want to mention that the fact Hormozy, Dana White, Elon Musk, they all build personal brands. They all own media. Like, Musk doesn't advertise Tesla, or like, they don't do marketing, right? They don't do SpaceX marketing, Tesla marketing. He is the marketing, right? Same with Harmozy. He was doing like 100K a month or like a million a month, and then he built an audience and he literally 10x that. So same with Iman Gadzi and like Kylie Jenner. You can name any influencer that built an audience and then like leverage the fuck out of it. That's what it did. It's unlimited leverage. So how I came up with this concept of elite personal brand is that when I had the short form content agency, which I mentioned before, I had a client, my very first client. I worked with him for 6 months, the dating coach, added a bunch of organic followers. And what I did for him is essentially start with filming, then moved into editing, content ideas, trending content. So we handled the content creation part really. So made this content look amazing, positioned him differently because his content was different. It was above what people were used to in that space, and kind of like positioned him as an authority within a couple of months. So that was rather easy. But I had more clients after that, and not all of them got the same results, even though we kind of did same things. And that kind of led me to this rabbit hole to figuring out why it wasn't the same. And I realized that personal brand is made out of 3 successful parts, which is, I call it CMO, EAC, and then we're going to go for red, LAC. I'm going to explain what everything means in a second, but essentially what happens is if all these components are dialed in, you have a successful personal brand. It's making money. It's positioning you as an authority. It works. It's a smooth machine. Let's put it like that. Let's start with the CMO. So we're just going to kind of scroll down and kind of explain it. So CMO is clear, message, and offer. This is the foundational piece. This kind of dictates your strategy. So if you don't know what's unique or authentic about you and your service or your brand, then you're really playing the game on hard mode. And nobody wants to play the game on hard mode. So you need to figure your message and your offer. And once you have that kind of dialed in, once you have it all figured out, you gain clarity, right? So if this is clear, it should be the other way around really, but you gain clarity if it's all dialed in, right? Once you have clarity, then you understand what kind of content you need to create to handle objections. So you're going to know what kind of content to create to handle objections, to break limiting beliefs, and prime your ideal audience. All right, because that's all your content needs to do. Obviously, you need to build that connection, but your content needs to handle objections beforehand, break limiting beliefs, and empower your audience, really prime them for your product or service. So that's number 1, CMO. Second, we have EAC, Elite Attention Capturing. I'm not excellent at these acronyms, but that's kind of what I came up with. And this is exactly what's going to separate you from the competition and make more money. We want to highlight this, more money, which is important in any business. Let's just be real. The whole elite attention capturing system is really all about structuring your content and creating valuable content correctly. So valuable content doesn't only mean valuable info in the content. It's also about entertainment. Is the video aesthetically pleasing? Is it clear in terms of visuals and sounds? Is the pacing correct? So a lot of it comes into play. If you combine it all, present it correctly, people watch it, not necessarily going viral, but people find it valuable. They follow you for that. And that's how you grow. And a good example of that is actually obviously like my content and also my clients' content. It is easily recognizable. As long as you stay consistent with good quality content and you're out there posting it on people's feeds, that's what matters. People are going to watch it. They're going to trust you more. They're going to go to that no like and trust barrier easier, right? Organic isn't the only way. I don't think I mentioned, but it's very likely that you've also seen those ads where people tell you like, oh, check out my account for more X content, right? And those ads actually work. They are an excellent way to essentially attract your ideal clients if it's done correctly. And I've done those myself, and I know a lot of coaches are doing them as well. That's how I actually attract my ideal clients. And I know they work because I spent like 700 euros and I made like 7,000. If the ad hits, you get a good return. But the real magic comes with combining both of those things, especially if your content is really high quality. Then you just get people like to sit down and binge watch your content. You know, you change their limiting beliefs, you handle their objections, you make them believe that your solution is the solution to their problems. And that's why people get, paid in their DMs instead of even going on a sales call. They just ask for a payment link, get on your program, on the coaching, whatever else you are selling, right? So this is really the secret. So combine, organic growth with audience building ads, and you're gonna blow up. And finally, we have LAC, which is loyal audience conversion. If you look at this whole system, right? CMO, EAC, LAC. So if you implement CMO and EAC correctly, this third part becomes relatively effortless because you are able to capture the right attention. You are able to build the right audience. Then it only becomes a matter of fact how to convert that audience that works for you. And there are really many ways of doing that. So you can use like a setter in your DMs. You can use a VSL funnel. It comes down to your product. What's the price point? So on and so forth, how much people need to be warmed up for this to work. And then finally, YouTube. So all of these working together are essentially going to build you a seamless content machine and build your personal brand. The thing is that if one of these components doesn't work, for example, if your strategy is not in place, you can create really good content and convert your audience. It's just not going to work. They're not going to convert because your offer sucks or your messaging sucks. They don't resonate. If your attention capturing sucks, if you can't create good, engaging content, high quality content that stands out, your message is just going to fall on deaf ears and you're not going to be able to convert. If your conversion mechanism sucks, you get the idea. You can get the right offer, good message, capture attention, but you can't convert them. You will convert some people, but not all of them. And that's what I kind of realized when I was running my short form content agency. We handled this. We handled the elite attention capture. We were able to build an audience, but I wasn't able to help my clients to convert as much as they could, or even help them with their offer if it was mediocre. And that was actually the case for one of my clients. So once I figured this thing out, launched a new offer where I help clients gain clarity on message and offer, right? Because if that doesn't work, the rest of it doesn't work. So we placed an editor into the client's business as well, because finding good talent is hard. I would know because I talk to a lot of editors on a daily basis. And then we finally helped them with converting the attention, converting and owning actually the attention. Because if you are just an influencer who just has a lot of followers and you don't own any of that attention, you can get banned and you're going to be out of business. So simple as that. This is red. This is blue. And so we help with all of these three parts. So listen, if you want to know how you can implement this into your business,
apply for a simple discovery call.
Or just send me a DM on Instagram. You probably came from Instagram and I might have even sent you this video. So just DM me back. I'll show you how we actually implement this for our clients and how you can probably implement it for your own offer. Note that I only do these discovery calls on Wednesdays and Thursdays. However, I open up some more slots. Also note that I can only add 4 more clients due to the talent availability, because finding good editors, training good editors takes time. If you tried hiring an editor, you probably are surely aware of that. Book a call below or DM me back, and looking forward to speaking to you soon.